Hi friends, are you ready to read some more Frog and Toad with me today? Today we're going to be reading our third chapter, which is called A Lost Button. All right, get out your book so you can read along with me, okay? A Lost Button. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked in the woods. They walked along the river. At last they went back home to Toad's house. "Oh, drat," said Toad. "Not only do my feet hurt, but I have lost one of my buttons on my jacket." It's not fun to lose something, is it? "Don't worry," said Frog. "We will go back to all the places where we walked. We will soon find your button." They walked back to the large meadow. They began to look for the button in the tall grass. "Here's your button," cried Frog. "That's not my button," said Toad. "That button is black. My button was white." Toad put the button back. He put the black button in his pocket. A sparrow flew down. "Excuse me," said the sparrow. "Did you lose a button? I found one." "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button has 2 holes, but my button had 4 holes." Toad put the button with 2 holes in his pocket. Still can't find it. Then they went back to the woods and looked on the dark paths. "Here's your button," said Frog. "That's not my button," cried Toad. "That button is small. My button was big." Toad put the small button in his pocket. He's finding all these other buttons, but not his. So what do we know so far about Toad's button that's missing? We know that it is big and it has 4 holes. What color was it? Yeah, his button was white, wasn't it? A raccoon came out from behind a tree. I heard that you were looking for a button," he said. "Here is one that I just found." "That's not my button," wailed Toad. "That button is square. My button was round." Toad put the square button in his pocket. Frog and Toad went back to the river. They looked for the button in the mud. "Here's your button," said Frog. "That is not my button," shouted Toad. "That button is thin, but my button was thick." Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He was very angry. He jumped up and down and screamed, "The whole world is covered with buttons, and not one of them is mine." Toad ran home and slammed the door. There, on the floor, he saw his white, 4-holed, big, round, thick button. "Oh," said Toad, "he was here all the time. What a lot of trouble I have made for Frog." Remember, Frog was just trying to be a good friend to him, wasn't he? Helping him look for his missing button. I think Toad kind of feels bad right now, doesn't he? That he made his friend go on this search for the missing button when it was right here in his house. Toad took all the buttons out of his pocket. He took a sewing box down from the shelf. Toad sewed the buttons all over his jacket. Do you remember all those buttons he had found? The next day, Toad gave his jacket to Frog. Frog thought it was beautiful. He put it on and jumped for joy. None of the buttons fell off. Toad had sewed them on very well. So now Frog has an awesome new jacket with all these cool buttons on it. Wasn't that a nice thing for Toad to do for his friend? And I hope as you read along, you see all these things that they do because they're friends and what it means to be a good friend. All right, next time we will read our next chapter called A Swim. All right, I'll see you soon.